ഹലോ ഓൾ. ONV കുറുപ്പിൻ്റെ വളരെ പ്രശസ്തമായ കവിതയാണ് ഭൂമിക്കൊരു ചരമഗീതം. ഭൂമിക്കൊരു ചരമഗീതത്തിൻ്റെ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ട്രാൻസ്ലേഷനാണ് എ റെക്വiem ടു മദർ എർത്ത്. സോ, in this video, we are going to deal with the poem A Requiem to Mother Earth, which was written by ONV Kurup. About the poet ONV Kurup. ONV Kurup was born in 1931 at Chavara, a coastal village in South Kerala. He belonged to Neo-Romantic school of poetry. Though he is considered a romantic poet, he started his poetic career as a representative of the pink era in Malayalam, when literature came under the influence of left-wing politics in a big way. He sang with deep emotion about the dreams of the laboring classes and the cruelties of the capitalistic class. His poetry is marked by the presence of highly descriptive images of nature. His poems also uphold the concept of humanity and motherhood. Though ONV's poems often celebrate the virtues of an Indian identity, he takes care to include a multicultural perspective in his poems, and this accounts for the universal appeal of his poetry. A prolific writer and one of the finest lyricists in Malayalam, ONV's major works include ദാഹിക്കുന്ന പാനപാത്രം, മയിൽപീലി, അഗ്നിശലഭങ്ങൾ, അക്ഷരം, കറുത്ത പക്ഷിയുടെ പാട്ട്, ഉപ്പ്, ഭൂമിക്കൊരു ചരമഗീതം, ഉജ്ജയിനി, etc. He received Kerala Sahitya Academy Award for അഗ്നിശലഭങ്ങൾ in 1971, Kendra Sahitya Academy Award for Aksharam in 1975, Vaila Ramavarma Award for Uppu in 1982. As a lyricist, he had won the National Award for Best Lyricist in 1989 and the State Award for the Best Lyricist over a dozen times. He received the Jnanapith Award in 2010. He is also a recipient of the Government of India's civilian honours Padma Shri and Padma Vibhushan. About the poem A Requiem to Mother Earth. A Requiem to Mother Earth, ഭൂമിക്കൊരു ചരമഗീതം, is the title poem of ONV's 1984 collection in which the poet laments the sad plight of Earth at the hands of its human inhabitants. The poem is at once an appeal, an exhortation, a warning, and a dirge. It is an appeal to the ruthless humans to stop the relentless exploitation of Earth, an exhortation to be mindful of the countless sacrifices that Earth does for the humans, a warning against desecrating of the sacred caretaker, and a dirge for the magnanimous and forbearing mother who refuses to die for the sake of her children. The poem, by addressing the issues of ecological preservation, states that only mutual coexistence between man and the earth would preserve the future of human race. The poem ഭൂമിക്കൊരു ചരമഗീതം, written by ONV Kurup, was translated into English by S. Velayudan. Now, let's have a detailed analysis of stanza 1 to 6 from the poem A Requiem to Mother Earth, which was written by ONV Kurup. The poem A Requiem to Mother Earth starts with an epigraph. So, what is an epigraph? Epigraph is a short quotation or saying at the beginning of a book or chapter intended to suggest its theme. The epigraph goes like this: A song of praise for this earth, for its surge of life, for poetry, the essence of its beauty. A Requiem to Mother Earth commences with an epigraph giving a clear indication of what the poem is about. It is a song of praise for the earth, for its surge of life, and for poetry, for its essence of beauty. It is a song of praise. Praise means homage. Poet is paying respect to Mother Nature. For its surge of life, for poetry, the essence of its beauty. Surge of life means abundance of life you see around you, and also for the poetry, which is considered as the essence of its beauty. The poet mourns for his near-dying Mother Earth and by hearts this dirge well in advance, as he is not going to be there to attend the funeral. Moving to the first stanza of the poem, This earth not yet dead, in the eminence of your death, may your soul rest in peace. This song I inscribe in my heart today is a requiem to you and to me. നമുക്കറിയാവുന്നതുപോലെ ഭൂമിക്കൊരു ചരമഗീതം ആരംഭിക്കുന്നത് ഇങ്ങനെയാണ്. ഇനിയും മരിക്കാത്ത ഭൂമി, നിൻ ആസന്ന മൃതിയിൽ നിനക്ക് ശാന്തി, ഇത് നിന്റെ എൻ്റെയും ചരമ ശുശ്രൂഷയ്ക്ക് ഹൃദയത്തിൽ എന്നേ കുറിച്ച ഗീതം. This earth not yet dead, in the eminence of your death, may your soul rest in peace. Earth has been personified by the poet, and the song is a requiem to earth who is on the verge of death. This earth is not yet dead. In the eminence of your death, he wants that it might die soon. Eminence means soon to arrive. May your soul rest in peace. He is wishing eternal peace to earth. This song I inscribe in my heart today is a requiem to you and to me. So, the poet is inscribing these lines in his heart today as a requiem to you, and not only to you but also to me. What is requiem? Requiem is a song of mourning composed as a memorial to a dead person. So this poem is composed as a requiem to the dying earth. The earth is not yet dead, but it's dying. The poet says that the poem is a requiem not only to earth but also to him, because he knows that without earth man cannot live. So he is wishing eternal peace both to earth and for human race. Moving to the second stanza of the poem, when tomorrow you lie benumbed in the enveloping shadow of the dark poison flower of death, none will be left here, not me either, to mourn, to moisten your dead lips with our tears. Therefore I inscribe this to you, Mother Earth, not yet dead, in the eminence of your death, may your soul rest in peace. When tomorrow you lie benumbed, benumbed means lack of sensation. When tomorrow you lie benumbed in the enveloping shadow of the dark poisoned flower of death. Flower usually symbolizes beauty. But here the poet describes death as a flower which has poison in it. As the shadow envelops the entire earth, none will be left here in this earth. When you die, we too will die. That means human race will extend. To mourn, to moisten your dead lips with our tears. When she lies there awaiting death, no one would be left on the earth to mourn her death. There shall be none exist here to mourn, to share grief, to show sadness, to moisten your dead lips with our tears. So the poet is emphasizing again that when earth dies, human race will also die. Therefore I inscribe this to you, Mother Earth, not at death, in the eminence of your death, may your soul rest in peace. The whole clan of human race would be wiped off from the face of the globe, and no single being would be here to moisten the dead lips of Mother Earth with their tears. So the poet inscribes this song to earth well before the clock chimes marking the doom. Moving to the third stanza of the poem, you, mother even to the Parai, who bore the 12, from whom 12 clans branched, bore countless children, who could not live in amity, you saw them with your own eyes, devouring one another, you stood helpless, shedding unseen silent tears. You, mother even to the Parai. The reference is to the folklore of Kerala that attributes the birth of the different clans and castes in the land to the 12 children that a Parai, a low-caste woman, bore to Vararuji, a Brahmin. Parai Petta Pandirukulam is a popular folk tale in Kerala. According to this folk tale, Vararuji, one of the 9 wise men of Emperor Vikramaditya's court, married a girl belonging to Paraya, a lower caste. The couple set out a long pilgrimage. On the way, they were blessed with 12 children. Upon each delivery, Vararuji inquired whether the baby had a mouth. If the wife said yes, he would say, God will appease the one with mouth. and would ask the wife to abandon the baby then and there and proceed. 11 children were deserted, since they had a mouth. The tale goes that after the 12th birth, when Vararuji asked whether the child had a mouth, the wife said he didn't have a mouth, in the hope that she may get to raise at least that child. But when she looked at child, after saying that, the child indeed was seen to have born without a mouth. Vararuji consecrated the 12th child as a deity on top of a hill, and they proceeded on the pilgrimage. The 11 abandoned children were adopted and brought up by 11 different families, varying from the aristocratic upper caste to very low caste. This is the folklore behind the name Parai. So, the poet says that you, mother even to the Parai. Parai is a person who gave birth to many children. ONV says that Mother Earth is the mother even to Parai, who bore 12 children, from whom 12 clans branched. Clans means caste. Caste which evolved from the children of Parai, bore countless children who could not live in amity. As there were caste distinction, there are numerous fighting that happened between the children of Mother Earth. He says that her children could not live in amity. Amity means friendship. There doesn't exist any sort of friendship between the sons of Mother Earth. They always used to fight. You saw them with your own eyes devouring one another. You saw them. Here ONV is addressing Mother Earth. Devouring one another. Devouring means killing. You stood helpless, shedding unseen silent tears. Mother Earth was watching all this, but she stood helpless. Mother Earth is shedding unseen silent tears. Nobody saw her tears. It is unseen silent tears. Then even they danced merrily, gorging you slice by slice, all suffering you stood unprotesting. Then even they danced merrily. They means human beings. Human beings were celebrating their success, gorging you slice by slice. During their celebration, human race was eating you. Gorging means eating. Gorging you slice by slice. That means they were exploiting you. All suffering, you stood unprotesting. Mother Earth stood there unprotesting. The central image of the poem is that of a mother who is torn to pieces by her own children and who ironically refuses to die for the sustenance of the same monstrous children. The poet portrays the conflict among the human siblings who fight among themselves, driven by greed and selfishness, and bring misery to Mother Earth. How she stands a mute, helpless victim to all the battles fought in the name of power and superiority, shedding silent tears, is delicately shown in the poem. They danced merrily, devouring Mother Earth, slicing her, miming her, while she considered herself even unworthy of hope as she stood enduring all the blows meted out to her by her own children. Her children, blind with a thirst for wealth and power, quenched their thirst by sucking out her blood. The same lives that she nurtured by feeding milk from her breast deprived her of her life. Moving to the fourth stanza of the poem, parting your soft green mantle, you sucked them at your breast. As they grew, they discovered a strange thirst, their last, a thirst for the blood of your sacred heart. Parting your soft green mantle. Parting means bid goodbye. Mother Earth had to bid goodbye to her soft green mantle. Mantle means cover. She had to part with the soft green mantle because of the exploitation of human race. You sucked them at your breast as they grew. You fed the human beings, but as they grew, the human beings discovered a strange thirst. Their last. The poet knows that without earth, human beings can't survive. They need Mother Earth. A thirst for the blood of your sacred heart. And what is their thirst? The thirst for your blood, your sacred, pure, divine blood. The harrowing image of suckling babies at the mother's breast who devour her with vampirish greed, draining her of her blood, is representative of the modern man's greed in mercilessly destroying their source of life. Moving to the fifth stanza of the poem, O mother, favorite bride of the sun, you lost even the bridal finery he gave you. They tore it to shreds. They clawed at your bare body. They feasted on the gushing blood. The rhythm of death resounds everywhere as they swell in their frenzied dance. O mother, again and again, poet addresses earth as mother. O mother, favorite bride of the sun. ONB refers to earth as the favorite bride of the sun, maybe because of the presence of life in it. You lost even the bridal finery he gave you. Finery means showy attire. Earth is very beautiful to look it from the space. The look is very appealing. But gradually you lost that beautiful finery. She received this beautiful finery from the sun as the bridal gift. They tore it into shreds. They here refers to human beings. They tore it into shreds. Shreds means little pieces. They clawed at your bare body. Here the poet is using animal imagery. They preyed on your bare body. They feasted on the gushing blood. The blood was gushing out or oozing out. They celebrated on your gushing blood. The rhythm of death resounds everywhere. They celebrated on your gushing blood, and the rhythm of music of death resounds everywhere. We can hear the music of death everywhere as they swell in their frenzied dance. But the human beings are engaged in the frenzied dance, means uncontrollable dance. They are celebrating their success. They are not hearing the music of the death. It is the bright beauty of earth that the poet points at when he pictures her as the favorite bride of the sun. But the beastly man tears her to pieces and drinks the blood that gushes out of her body, forgetting that it is his own blood that he is guzzling out. Moving to the sixth stanza of the poem, the story of the young Greek who unwittingly married his mother is dated. The children of Mother Earth, they who strip her naked, script a new version of the old story. What they strip, they sell in the market for a drink. The villain's claw, the axe plays on and on. The story of the young Greek who unwittingly married his mother is dated. The poet makes an allusion to Oedipus of Greek mythology. Oedipus is a famous tragedy written by Sophocles. Oedipus was a mythical Greek king of Thebes. A tragic hero in Greek mythology, Oedipus accidentally fulfilled a prophecy that he would end up killing his father and marrying his mother, thereby bringing disaster to his city and family. Here, the poet ONB says that the story of Oedipus is not outdated, it is dated. The story of Oedipus has great significance in the present era. The children of Mother Earth, they who strip her naked, script a new version of the old story. What they strip, they sell in the market for a drink. ONB says the children of Mother Earth are stripping her naked. Here, the poet refers to Oedipus' story. In the new story, they strip her and sell her in the market for a drink. Drink here refers to materialistic attitude of the human beings, the objectification of nature, how they are commercializing and exploiting nature. The villain's claw, the axe plays on and on. Here, human beings are compared to villains. The process is continuous. Human beings are exploiting nature. Again, the poet is using animal imagery. The villain's claw, the axe plays on and on. The act of exploiting nature is going on. The poet makes an allusion to Oedipus of Greek mythology who unwittingly kills his father and marries his mother. What Oedipus did inwardly is done knowingly and shamelessly by man who is devoid of any doubts. They know no remorse and ravish their own mother. The painful image of children selling their own mother for a drink signifies materialism and utilitarianism that has robbed the world of all morals. Mother Earth for them is only a commodity that can be bought and sold and that is desecrated at the will of men. So, that's the detailed explanation of stanza 1 to 6 of the poem A Requiem to Mother Earth, which was written by O.N.V. Kurup. Hope you understood the session. Thank you for watching.